All right. Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Laughing Man podcast. And special guest today, my good friend, Mr. Mike Smith from Vancouver Island, Gabriel actually, and is in the house. Yeah, he's actually staying with me for a while. And Mike, welcome. Welcome. So he's agreed to talk about his story, right? Mike's his stories and all. So we talked about maybe we should start because you're like, you just had your birthday, right?
I'm 70.
70, right? So yeah, we could talk about like from your like hippie days or whatever, like you're like in this when you graduated high school and all. You know, you were.
Yeah, I can remember hearing Mom Elvis when I was a kid, and Mom went and saw Elvis.
Oh wow.
I told you,
Yeah.
it was so loud she couldn't hear him. But anyways, when I was a kid, my mom was a part of that whole dance, do the twist, that era.
All right.
And anyways, I was in Toronto in 1965. That's when all the...
How 60, okay, 15, 16, 17,
Yeah,
18. What are you doing like late teens, like 18, 19, 20? What are you...
I left Ontario when I was 18, 17. I was a born-again Christian. I became a born-again Christian from high school.
Really? You never told me.
Yeah, what it was I had these experiences, and so I figured, well, I should. The old janitor at the church, at the high school, his name was John, and he was a fat old janitor, and he was always trying to convert all the kids to Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus will save you thing, right? So he took me to the church with him, to his church in Hamilton, and they tried to save me and all, and this, but it didn't quite work because you have to accept all this stuff. And it was like, well, I said to them, well, what about the Buddha? What about the Tibetan monks and stuff? And they said, that's the devil coming through you. Shh, shh, shh. So then I ditched out of that situation.
All right.
And so many friends I knew ended up in the psychiatric hospitals in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because if you didn't do good in school and you had any kind of spiritual experiences or anything, that was not recognized as a reality, of any reality. So they basically put you in the psychiatric hospital over that type of thing.
Wow, I've only had one friend that, well, I didn't even know he had that, but yeah, just one of mine.
Yeah, in those days, they would give you. They were giving women lobotomies, and they were giving across the board. They were giving all the women hysterectomies, and because the women most of those days, if they were having a hard time coping, they gave them Valium. They had a lot.
Yeah, that's prescription. So you're a drummer, right? Yeah. Let's go talk. Let's go down the music path.
The drumming thing.
When did you start playing drums?
I got inspired in grade 6 or 7 by somebody, and then Mom said to me, "Well, I'll give you drum lessons, but I'll never tell you to practice." So she bought me a little practice pad and a couple of drumsticks, and I started taking these drum lessons, grade 7 it was, and I liked it. And so Christmas, this is September or so, and then Christmas came, and they bought me a set of drums, a little set of, a set of drums. They were called Raven or Stewart back in those days. So they bought me the set of drums, and I didn't like school very much, so every day I'd end up going home early and missing the last class or two, and I'd go home and I'd just hang out at home and play drums to Led Zeppelin. I had all the albums, right? Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Deep Purple, and I had the big a record player, stereo, and I had the drums sitting right here, so I would be putting on, Led Zeppelin, I'd be playing, and Black Sabbath, and I was always doing all this stuff. That's what I go home and do.
You didn't have to worry about the neighbor, big house, or what?
No, I was in the basement.
Oh, wow, okay.
Nobody. My sister didn't like it. She hated having to come home. She was up on the top floor. It was a 3-story house. She had to come home and put up with me for 2 hours or 3 hours before my parents came home. My sister and I had to do all the house cleaning and cook the meals and clean the kitchen. Before that, we did all of it, but when we moved to that house, which Mom and Dad bought for $23,000 in 1967, which my sister saw sell for $1.3 million 4 years ago. But we had this house, 3-story house. Michelle's up on the top story. She has to put up with me coming home at 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon, playing until 5 or 5:30. She's upstairs and I'm in the very basement pounding away. Yeah. And if I wasn't pounding away doing that, I was watching Star Trek, because we were brought up on Star Trek, right?
Star Trek. I love Star Trek.
So, and then we had to have the dinner cooked on time.
Yeah.
So either she was on cooking duty one week and I would do the cleanup. This is after they got a maid who do the house cleaning once a week. So we were out of that. Michelle had to do the laundry and I had to bake every Saturday. Cookies or something. But anyway, I was on kitchen duty. We were on kitchen duty. I either had to do the meals, and they had to be done on time, but when they came in the house at 5:15, the potatoes had to be cooked, salad and everything had to be made just right, or we'd get into trouble. So I would have my week doing it, and then Michelle would be cleaning up the kitchen afterwards, and then vice versa. She would be doing the cooking, and I would be doing the cleaning up.
Gotcha.
And
so, I mean, but eventually you said we're getting back to, like, if we keep going like in your 20s, right? Like you said,
I'm
you moved.
not 20 yet. This is,
you're not. I know you're a perpetual teenager.
This is 15.
I know. You want to say, okay, well, we can just talk about being 15.
And so then
the
Christianity, I didn't pan out with the Christianity. So then I looked into Carlos Castaneda. I went to the hypnotherapist, and he threw a book on the table saying, "Have you ever read Carlos Castaneda?" And it was like, I'm not crazy. There's some reality here. And so I left Ontario, and I came out west into Calgary, and I had been a born-again Christian, but I gave that up. And I started looking into meditation. Different guys came through town who were doing yoga stuff. Yeah. And I had friends that were involved with TM meditation. My close friend had hung out with, I don't know if you know, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was the yogi, the Beatles, TM meditation. Well, Al had hung out with Mahesh Yogi, and groups of people with Buckminster Fuller. I don't know if you know who Buckminster Fuller was, the architect.
I know. I mean, I've never met him.
Al hung out with these guys, right? Anyways.
Did you ever live in any communes or anything like that, communal living?
I lived in an ashram. I moved into the ashram. When I got involved I heard about Guru Maharaji. And at that time, he had been brought to England, and he was only 15 or 16. Oh, wow. And I was about 18, and I heard about him because he set up in Colorado, and a lot of people were receiving what he calls knowledge in the States. And it turned out that one of the Indian Mahatmas came from India with him, would travel to different cities and speak to people about this. There was nothing there, eh? I mean, that's a whole story in itself. But
then you went to Australia before to meditate there, right?
Well,
different retreats.
There's a big piece of property there that every September they have a program for about 10 days or something. Yeah. And I've been there 3 times. I'm not a fan of Australia, and I haven't been going there because it's too expensive.
Well, we if we're going to talk about anything, we should probably besides Canada, which you live on a sailboat, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've had a few sailboats. The first sailboat that I was living on a school bus. Somebody sold me a hippie school bus in 1980, a friend of mine. And I had it parked on a piece of property outside of Victoria in a big forest.
Yeah.
And I was paying the guy $50 a month to have the school bus there. And I had like a fire outside, and I had a bathtub over the fire that I have a bath in. And this whole thing. And that went on for 4, 5, 6 years. And then I ended up selling that hippie school bus, and I bought a sailboat that was sunk off of somebody in Victoria. It was outside of Victoria, and the ocean sunk, but you could see it when the tide went out.
Oh, wow.
And I bought it for $1,000, and I had to rent a big pump.
Yeah.
And I'd never done any ocean sailing. I'd only been brought up around the lakes.
Oh, wow.
I always had a motorboat when I was a kid and all that stuff, little motorboat and stuff. So I buy this goofy sailboat for $1,000, and I managed to pump it out and get it floating. And I had to clean the whole inside out. It had fish in it, it had everything. I had to clean everything out, and I had to rebuild the diesel engine so that it would run. So I got the stupid thing running, and anyways, it was made out of cement. It was a ferro cement boat. And I took it into Victoria, and I was in it, living in it in Victoria. And oh man, that was a problem. And
you've had many, right? You've had many sailboats.
well, that boat, I was lucky. Somebody came along and bought it off me for $3,000, and I helped them deliver it. And we got trapped into a really bad ocean situation with that sailboat. We barely lived through it, but Gord took the boat.
All right.
And I got my $3,000, and it was like, that stupid thing. It was called the Trinidad pitch because he painted it black with my pitch that you put on the roof. And the guy's name was Gord. He was a German guy. He built that boat, and it had ruined his marriage. Boats have ruined a lot of people's marriages.
Not yours, because you've never been married, right?
No.
And hey, let's start.
I never married.
Never married. Ted, this is part one. We're definitely doing part two. All right, part one. We'll stop it right there. All right.